peace of God, perfect harmony of all life. Moment to moment, the divine calls to you in every moment. The voice of love is always singing to you. The voice of love is always dancing with you. The truth of love is always embracing you. Until you decide to completely melt and end the perception of two. The divine spirit of love is all that truly exists. There is no other life except an illusion of a separate self, an illusion of time, and it disappears with one heartbeat as you say yes and allow love to lead. For love to show you the way. That divine power of love is always with you and is always the truth of you. There seems to be a difficulty in hearing the voice of love because the voice of fear speaks so loudly. The voice of love whispers, calling you to stillness and silence within, to turn away from the familiar voice of fear. That familiar voice of fear that loves assessments and conclusions and opinions and judgments and lays claim to the world of difficulty. Just a perception. But it's been believed in since the beginning of time. When time began, illusion began. When progress seemed to be real and relevant, illusion began. When fear began, illusion began. And humanity has paid homage to that fear, building defenses that seem so legitimate that they're given every reasonable reason. All the evidence seems to be so real. That every moment is a new moment to begin again. Every moment is a new moment to turn toward love, to turn toward peace. Every beloved in humanity believes that the power comes from knowing, from assessing, from judging, from figuring things out. When in actuality, the power, the only power, the power of love, power of God, rests in the not knowing, in the stillness. And from that place of acceptance that there is nothing to know, the heart comes forward and opens in its surrender to love. The idea of even having a heart is something that isn't thought of very much. It's an aside. And oh yeah, that, the heart. Not realizing that the heart, the one heart, is the center of the universe, the center of all creation. And it is what life is. So the call to open the heart, to offer love, to ask for such a deep healing that the heart bursts forth, no longer being held by the mind of insanity. The heart bursts. And merges with all that is, its rightful place, its holy place. And all the joy, and all the peace, and all the harmony of true life returns to awareness. No one is exempt from this journey. Even beloveds who have not even recognized there is a journey of love. And even those who have said yes to the journey of love have no idea how to navigate the journey of love, except through the blessed offerings of all masters that have been called into service by humanity's longing. Every master that has walked the earth hears the call of humanity's longing and answers that call with truth. And the only question becomes, how long will you wait? The delay is unnecessary. But the mind of separation says, No, I still want to figure things out. I still want to wrestle with it myself. And in that choosing, love cannot serve. But every moment is the opportunity of the yes and the surrender. Show me the way. Show me the way of love. I'm willing. Show me what's most helpful. Let me hear the voice of love in the quiet, intimate heart. Help me to hear only the voice of love so that I no longer turn toward the past of knowing, the past of fear, and the past of pain. And love never refuses to answer the call. Love is always waiting patiently for the prayer of, help me. The fear of God is the fear of death. The fear that to melt into God in your natural state and leave behind the false identity of separation. The belief is that that means death, that you will lose, that you will be sacrificing such an important identity. That all the fear of the universe wraps itself around. And the trust is in all the divine teachings and all the divine guidance of love that is always affirming. There is no sacrifice in love. There is no loss in merging into love. That is when life really begins. Moment by moment, day by day, while the belief of time is held, each moment you choose. You choose fear or love. You choose pain or joy. You choose yes or no. And when you believe you don't choose, you choose what's known. The awakening into first consciousness so that you can recognize you have a choice. Is the essential beginning of returning to awareness. moment by moment, choosing. The glorious choosing, the glorious power of choosing to surrender to the guidance of love. That love will always lead. And that to choose fear is to choose self-attack. To choose fear is to choose pain. The eternal light of love only brings joy and peace, because that is your natural state. You are joy, you are peace, you are light. But in that acceptance, it must be accepted for everyone. There can never be a parsing out of likes and dislikes. There can never be a parsing out of good and bad and right and wrong. In the embrace of love, the dream falls away. And there is only that divine harmony, that divine peace. And every beloved who awakens recognizes in that awakening, oh, there was anything ever to do except accept the light, accept to hear and listen to the voice of God, and to accept the power of all love. Glorious return to the place you never left. Glorious and unknown in the world of illusions. Moment by moment, the yes. And in this moment, the willingness to accept as deeply as possible that here in the infinite circle of love we are one. There is nothing else. How you serve that oneness is whether you begin to feel joy or you stay in the beliefs of pain and serve that belief of separation. In the infinite circle of love, we are one. And affirming in every moment, this universe is all love. This sanctuary is filled with love and calls only to love. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within that life force, we live and move and breathe as one. One heart and one mind in the truth of God. In this light, there is nothing Nothing to do except follow. Nothing to know, only resting. Resting the mind into the mind of God. Resting the heart into the heart of God. Resting. Allowing. Accepting. Embracing. And through every moment there is a divine relationship that is being called to be embraced with every beloved, with everything that exists to want to see the truth of love within. As the heart says yes, the heart heals. So allow this prayer to pierce your heart and allow the vibration of love to surround you completely so that you can recognize that vibration and feel the familiar within it, that it is the vibration of love that you truly are. One with all creation. When I feel this pain inside and I find nowhere to hide, Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. The sorrow now imprisons me. Somehow I need to be set free. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Heal me of my hurt and fear. Reveal the face of God so near. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Safety of a mother's care, for Jesus it was always there. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. As I move toward the light, defend me from the darkest night. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Thank you for the love you give. In compassion for your Son I live. Mother, rain your love on me. 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 Seems redundant, because the Divine Mother is always raining love in every moment. But the prayer to come from within, of acknowledging that you want the rain of love, that you want that deep connection, that you want the guidance of that divine light. That is the essential element that is not recognized, the essential element of the invitation to the divine, to transform your awareness into love again. And for that, we call on the power of the universe, the power of the divine, to recognize we need the help. Because in the belief of separation, the insidiousness of the belief of separation will constantly pull you back into its pain and suffering, its doubt, its resistance. So we call on the light of love in every moment in this life. It is only the power of love that serves. Only the power of love that is constantly embracing every beloved in truth, in love, and the willingness to accept that love. Even when you aren't aware of what it even is, touching into the longing of love, the longing for peace. And the call is always answered, always answered. I cry a lot and I regret all that has already passed of the past. I'm now going to leave everything that I have been looking for. I'm going to leave it. Everything I've been yearning for in this world. And I'm going to go and live among the flowers. I'm going to go and live among the flowers with my Blessed Mother. The fears that have appeared in all of these lifetimes are just the great rebellion against God, being used as a weapon to stay separate. The calling is to all beloveds to sing with love in that divine unity of one heart, to sing and calling on the truth of God, the light, to dispel all the beliefs that hold the fear in place. I am the child of the Blessed Mother. I call this power of love, I call the force of love to come and open my heart, do what I cannot do, bring healing into every moment because I ask for it, because I am willing to surrender all that I've conjured up in the mind of separation. I say yes. Choro muito e lamento tudo que já se passou. Deixo tudo sabor, somente vou viver no meio das flores. Vou viver no meio das flores, junto com a Virgem Maria. Os terrores que aparecem, essa grande rebeldia. Vamos todos, meus irmãos, Vamos canta com amor para Deus e a Virgem Mãe nos defender desses terrores. Sou filho da Virgem Mãe, reconhece este poder. Chama a força, eu chama a força para vir nos defender. I call the force of love to come and open my heart. Because without that power of God in my alignment, I'm not able alone to open the heart. This is such a deep place of awareness within the illusion to finally recognize I need help. In this journey of love, it was essential. It was the key to open to that divine communion and want to follow and want everything to be guided, that every moment could be totally guided. Show me the way. I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, but love will direct me. Show me the way. Not realizing how painful it is to count on your own knowing until you begin to truly let it go and start to follow the guidance of love. And as you begin to follow the guidance of love, it becomes so exquisite. At first, there's trepidation. At first, there's resistance. But as the guidance of love gently leads into what is most perfectly helpful for your remembering, you begin to make the connection between cause and effect. That when you allow the guidance to lead you, you are no longer believing in the cause and effect of the past. You're stepping away from the illusion of that battleground. And you begin to turn more and more toward the voice of love that is your divine communication, your divine light that wants to lead you back to peace through forgiveness of all that you thought you knew, through the forgiveness of all the mistaken ideas that you've carried of separation. Step by step, opening to the blessings of love's calling. The copper coin understands. The copper coin understands its place among the gold. Any words that can tarnish another knows they are meant to one day be discarded. Discarded from your speech so that you can no longer speak the words of hatred, resentment, and vengeance. And they will as you mature, grow ripe, and then those words of love can nourish others with your heart. The sounds of pure gold are different than anything still alloyed. What they say never in any way wants to do harm. This is the journey of love. It isn't easily recognized, because if it was easily recognized, everyone would wake up in a nanosecond. No one would choose pain and the belief of death in exchange for joy and harmony and peace. But because it stays just hidden enough in the arrogance of knowing, which is so mesmerizing in the world, that it even becomes a contest. There's a contest that goes on that sometimes you can actually see. The contest is, I know more than you do. And it's almost like a contest gets put in place so that each one can play the game of pain and suffering in their own way, trying to top the other with how much they know, believing that the knowing gives them worth, that there is a trigger point that you need to prove your worth, and your knowing is going to do it. It's the challenge that humanity gets pulled into all the time. And it's camouflaged. It's camouflaged just enough that it becomes sometimes even entertaining to try to out-know somebody else, how much you know. But all the while in the pain, even if you're not playing the game with actual physical words, you're playing it in judgment. You're judging and assessing each one for the threat of being called out for not knowing enough. The threat of being the loser in the contest. The insidiousness of the ego has a perfect orchestration of this. And it laughs and laughs with every hook that every beloved gets hooked in. How many times, even a day, are you disturbed by the seeming threat of someone's knowing? That the perception becomes, this is a threat. Or if someone is happy, even that can be a threat. The jealousy that the ego invokes is totally painful, but isn't recognized as such. It's recognized as righteous, valid, and held on to as being right, and the need for more defense. This game is just pain and suffering. And what isn't recognized because it isn't known in the world, it isn't available to know in the world, is the divine freedom, the divine harmony and joy and peace of never having to compete again, to never have to win anything again, to never want another to lose again. The exquisite peace and harmony of love, where the heart sees and embraces completely every beloved and every creation in complete equality and union. That nothing that has been held as a difference in quality or value has any truth. That there are no differences in value, that there are no differences in quality, that there are no differences in good or bad. Sometimes beloveds can see this when it's put into such an insane possibility that you can actually see it. How many beloveds would take someone who seems to be mentally challenged, as it's called in this universe, this world, and that you would say with knowing and arrogance, yes, they're less because they don't know as much. Obviously, they're less. They don't have the quick wit. They aren't able to use words in really astounding ways. Not very many beloveds would even admit to that one. And yet, to place value and differences and the belief that knowing has value, what you know in the world has value, and means something about your worth, is completely fabricated. But to be taken into the mysteries of love, to be taken into the mysteries of harmony and peace, none of those distortions can go with you. And when you pray for healing, when you pray for the recognition of the truth and the wanting to surrender all perceptions of getting and winning and proving, when you truly want to surrender those old painful beliefs, love will show you and take you to that peace. Even if it's for just a moment, it will be so astounding that you will be aware that never again will you embrace that old knowing and that old proving and that old getting and winning in the same way again. It will no longer hold you so deeply in its authenticity because you've touched the harmony and the joy of love. And you've touched and tasted the freedom of oneness, of returning to God. The journey of love, in truth, isn't a journey at all? Because you are the light and that love and that peace and that freedom. Not you as an identity, but the divine I am. You're not healing in the sense of getting a new identity of peace and harmony. You are that. It's just been forgotten. It's just been buried under a false identity of pain and suffering and the belief of death. And it can be healed in a moment. To have the prayer in your heart, let every voice but God's be still in me, is to call on the power of love's healing, is to call on the power of the divine truth of the universe. In that calling, in that prayer, let every voice but God's be still in me. You are saying yes to what you truly want. And you join in that power of love. You bring your allegiance to sanity. You bring your allegiance to what you put your faith into. You're always having an allegiance. It's just having the awareness of the allegiance that you truly must choose the allegiance to love. One of the greatest fears in the world is to look within. To look within and have honesty of what the beliefs are that are running. There's a great fear of seeing within, because the false identity, the ego system, has made such a maze of lies, and one of them is to protect try to protect your false identity, to try to protect it, because to expose it, you believe it's you. You believe actually that it's you and that you will suffer if it's exposed. But every beloved who says yes to love, who wants to return home, has to find that place of faith that when the divine calls to expose the lies, that they're nothing to be ashamed of. They're not the truth. They're made up. To protect and defend them and to be dishonest about what they are so that you protect your identity, your false identity, is to affirm that you are not the light of God. And that what you think you know has accuracy. To look within with honesty is to really recognize that there is actually nothing outside, ever. That every element of pain and suffering is coming from the belief of separation that's in your mind. To no longer be willing to blame the world for your mistreatment is the great leap of faith. And that's when the healing really can begin. When it's no longer outside. But the belief in judgment and blame and condemnation has been used so much to battle with everything outside that has to be forgiven first. To forgive all the blame, all the condemnation and hatred that has been projected out, so that you're no longer willing to hold that all the condemnation and all the blame and all the vengeance and all the hatred means nothing. But then that also means that it was never done to you. It was a mad, tiny idea of separation that means nothing. It doesn't exist. To forgive is to recognize that there is nothing to forgive, but first the honesty has to come of, I made this up. I made this up, and I have been blaming and condemning all of these lifetimes, all out of the belief of self-hatred, all out of the belief in separation. Not true, not real, but a game that wants to play the game all the time. Games are very comfortable for the ego. The game of denial of any beliefs of I'm choosing this. The game of pretending whatever wants to be pretended, fantasized. But all of it can be illuminated when you surrender it all into the hands of God and you ask with a leap of courage, a leap of trust and faith, show me what I have made up. Show me what's in my way. Not because it's time for blame, not because it's time for punishment, but because it has to come to the light. It has to be brought to the light for it to be seen for its illusion that it is. As long as it's held in protective custody, it can't have the light shined on it, and it continues to play the game. That's why surrender is so essential. Surrendering means disowning. To surrender the beliefs that you've held in the past in honesty is to surrender them into the hands of God for healing and truly forgiving all of the dishonesty of the past. The willingness to disown the attachment to all the identities that you've held. And how can you see those identities, those layers and layers of identities that have been made to serve the protection of the ego identity? How do you see all those layers and layers except from wanting to disown them and allowing the spirit of love to illuminate everything, to allow the spirit of love to expose what's held you in your self-made prison. But first you have to accept that there is a self-made prison. First you have to accept that the world that you see and the world that you believe in is not peace and harmony and joy. And that every element of pain and suffering, in whatever way it comes, including the pain of pleasure that acts as a distraction of getting something within the world to get away from the pain, that's its intention. So much of this, beloveds, don't want to see, and yet the longing is there to remember. Why does the journey of love seem to take so long? Only because of the resistance to that honesty. Only of the resistance, the fear that says, I don't want to lose my belief that I have control. I have spent lifetimes trying to get control. And anytime somebody would ask a beloved, well, and how's that working? How much control do you think you have? Well, the truth is, illusion is constantly shifting and changing. It doesn't have anything to do with eternal permanence. So it's constantly changing and shifting, and as you try to control it, the ego gives you little tidbits. It's like throwing little pieces of meat at you, saying, here, I'm going to give you this little piece of meat, and you're going to think that you've got some control for about a half an hour. And then you'll be surprised all over again that you lose the control, and then you're upset and you're fearful all over again, thinking that there's something to control, and maybe you just don't have the formula quite right of how to get control over everything. So you keep trying. And the beauty and the blessing of finally realizing there's nothing to control, because only love exists. Everything else is just made up. And in love, there's nothing to control. What would you need control when everything is love? What would you possibly have to know in the truth of love? When you would be in the wisdom and awareness of all love. And whatever would be most helpful would come so easily, because God will never leave you without what is most helpful. The willingness to rest in the truth of God. The willingness to follow the voice of God. To finally open that door and, oh, I'm just coming home. And then the I can disappear. Because you're just coming home to what is all love. And you begin to feel the vibration of that love, the connection. The resistance is tremendous. It's tenacious, for sure. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be at all. But the arrogance of the mind, the arrogance of knowing, is wanting its payoff. Imagine how terrible the fear is of being in the motorcycle and letting God drive. And as you're in that sidecar and God is driving, recognize all the temptations that come up because you're not in the driver's seat. And you're in the sidecar and you're trusting that the wisdom of the creation of the universe is well aware of how to get where it needs to go. And that it will take you exactly to the right circumstances in the right places so that you can heal everything that you've put in the way of love. To trust the journey to God. Yeah, at first there's fear. What am I doing here in the sidecar? I only like to drive. I'm the one who knows the road. I'm the one who knows what to look for. I'm the one. These habits, these fantasies, these attachments to knowing will scream. But when you recognize the screaming as valueless and not of God, will you take that leap and follow the guidance of love? To trust in a moment that when you truly want to know something and everything in you that wants to know it is like an addiction to be in control, and it is an addiction. And it's a greater addiction. It's a more all-encompassing addiction than any drug that's ever been produced. The drug of knowing is insidious. It wants your attention all the time. And the lies that are ringing in your head are, I know what's best. I know how to do things. I know what it's for. I know this. I know this. Turn away from that old, hateful voice that has never served you. If you look at it with honesty, it has never served you. It has never brought you to peace. It has never brought you to any harmony or joy. All it's done is give you the insanity of thinking that around the next corner you're going to figure it out. If you just get the formula right, you'll finally figure out something. And if it wasn't for the past and all the horrible things that were done to you, you'd have the awareness to be able to do that. Those are the lies of the ego that it jumps up and down, happy that you're hooked again. But love keeps calling to you. Love keeps calling, whispering, come and rest. And refuse to battle. Number one, refuse to battle. If a thought is not peaceful and joyful, it is completely made up. Doesn't matter what form it comes in. It doesn't matter how exciting that thought might be, or how alluring that thought might be, or how seductive that thought may be within the world. If it's not peaceful, it's not of God, it's made up. And you choose again to come back to peace and trust in love. Every beloved is the reflection of what the Holy Spirit is actually showing to you to you to see what your beliefs are, what you believe about yourself and the world. If jealousy comes up, thank you for showing me with honesty this self-attack that I hold on to as real. Doesn't matter what it is that shows up. Suspicion shows up. Thank you for showing me what has been running my mind and causing me such pain. I'm willing to surrender this and disown the belief that suspicions have any value or any truth within them. I'm willing to be healed of all beliefs of suspicions. I am willing to be healed of all beliefs of battle that come in all these different forms. And the more that you surrender into the hands of God, the more you will feel the power of love, and you will stand in the light and refuse their authenticity. You will turn away from them and turn to love. You will choose in the moment peace. You will choose to trust that there is no threat ever. The holy light of God cannot be threatened because the holy light of God is not a body. The only reason that there is a belief in threat is because you believe you are your body. And I say your body with big quotes around it because everyone identifies it as your own, as if you could be separate by this form of identity. That's where all the fear comes from. The fear of death, the fear of hurt, of being a body, which includes not just the physical, but the emotional body, all the energy bodies, believing that you can be hurt. And in that belief of being hurt, you are identifying with the body and refusing to recognize the spirit. The spirit of love is your eternal divine self. That spirit is eternal. That spirit is all that is. It's temporarily housed in a body. But when you're fearful for the body, in actuality, you hate the body, because with the fear of the body and its protection, you are actually hating the body because the body can't protect you. Because you could get into a car and you could drive off and you could have a car accident and you could lose your legs or you could lose whatever. It's all that fear. And so the body is even seen as the great betrayal that you can't even count on, that you have to constantly try to protect it in every way so that you believe you stay safe. That doesn't mean that you go stand in the road and wait for a car to hit you to test it out. No, the body will fall away. But while your divine spirit is housed in a body, respect is being called for. The respect of only using the body to communicate love, to only use the body with love. Not for the body to get anything, because the body is just there, and unless you're offering love through it, it has no purpose. surrendering everything into the hands of God, life becomes easy. How much time would you have if you weren't spending all your time trying to figure things out? How much time would there be available for love if your mind wasn't so occupied with trying to sort things out as what's going to keep you safe and what's going to bring you more proof of your worth? That's a full-time job. And there's no value in it because it never brings you to anything. It just keeps spinning around in circles. And all the same beliefs in the world that you started out with, and in this incarnation you end up with the same ones still battling with the same beliefs, in the belief of that separation. So why not surrender? Why not shorten your time of agony by surrendering and allowing and following and listening to the voice of love in the quiet, and respecting that voice of love so deeply that you wouldn't diminish it by saying, no, I know more than God does. I'll be the judge of that. I'll be in charge. I go to my voice first and figure things out, and then maybe I'll check with God to see if he agrees or she agrees. There's a place that the ego loves to use, which is make up your mind first and then ask for guidance. And then if the guidance doesn't agree with what you made your mind up to be, then you're in turmoil and battling with guidance. That's how silly the idea of separation can be. It makes up all kinds of strategies to stay in charge. When you no longer believe what you think you know, when you are no longer an ally of what you think you know just out of habit, when you are no longer totally committed to agreeing with what you think you know and finding a way to be right about what you know, that can be really the tipping point. The tipping point into healing, when healing actually becomes easy. Because when you are dedicated to your own knowing, how you perceive things, how you see things, how you assess things, how you judge things, your viewpoint. That's one of the funniest things about knowing. Where did the word viewpoint come from? A point of view that comes from your past, from your culture, from your identity, from your made-up story, your point of view. That's where all the wars are, because everybody has a different point of view, a different perception. I see it differently. Well, yeah, that's a great place for battle. But to let go of what you think you know is to come home to harmony. To no longer care one way or the other, because God will lead. And God will show the easiest, most beautiful way only to come home. Not to achieve what the ego wanted to achieve in the world and get what you want out of an idea that you are lacking, but to bring you to peace, to bring you to harmony, to bring you to the truth. so that you can truly rest, so that you can completely remember and come home. So that becomes the tipping point, when you no longer buy your thoughts as reasonable and right. It's a humble place for sure, because there's nothing to battle with. Arrogance loves to battle. The world is made in separation of the battle of arrogance. Humility doesn't battle. Humility doesn't care about someone else winning in the perception of identity. There is no winning. And the place of humility, the truth of humility, which is love, recognizes that. There's nothing to battle for. There's no point of view to have to make a stand for, to be right. Imagine that someone that you see is behaving in such a way in the world that you can see that they're in pain. And instead of recognizing the pain as a place and a calling to love, you see it as a place to get them to want to see your point of view, what you think you know, and how you see it, when it's none of your business, except as a call for love. To put them into the hands of God, not through pity, not through concerns, not through winning, for sure, but through just the call of love, that they would be so helped by your remembering for them that they are in the hands of God. And that you consciously surrender them to that light that they truly are. And you let go of any concern of what their journey needs to look like, because they are the light of God. The idea and the illusion of being separate is just that. It's an illusion. This is the dream, the trance of being separate. It has no meaning. But to accept that and to hold every beloved as that light of purity and innocence is the healing of all of humanity. That's the only place of true power. To offer blessings and comfort of truth. To offer the blessings and comfort of innocence. And then that becomes your peace, because if you don't have anything to attach to of wanting to prove that you're right to them, or be worried about them, or anything else, projecting onto them your ego identity, you find peace, because you are trusting the power of the universe. You are putting all of your trust and your faith in the power of the universe, and you are resting in God. And you will recognize that power of love within you. And the blessings will be yours because you are one with all beloveds. As you offer blessings, you receive those same blessings because your heart expands, because your heart is open and oneness is more recognized. How easy is the journey in just surrender. How easy is the journey. Any words that can tarnish another knows that they are one day meant to be discarded from your speech and from your thoughts. Every single one must be forgiven and surrendered to come home to peace, to come home to ease, to come home to love. My beloved is what I am. As I see him, I see myself. To want to see the innocence of love is to want to accept the innocence of love within. To trust that there is only one heart, one love, one life, one light, is to return home.